I think part of what made SimCity so unique is the synthesis of all these different ideas that went into it. I think you could sort of, when you played that game, it immediately felt like nothing else that
Well,
was
there was
out
a lot
there.
like under the hood, like you could tell.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
and you go in your book, you actually go into, okay, what was actually under the hood and kind of how it
yeah,
was done, and some of that's like a little bit smoke and mirrors, but clearly there was a decent amount of sophistication under the hood. Like it
yeah,
wasn't just this kind of like fun little world that you're kind of walking around and you're kind of
totally.
like laying tiles on. It's like you lay tiles down, and then it's up to the simulation to decide, okay, what actually kind of happens to these
Yes.
like things that have been
Yeah.
zoned for commercial or residential or whatever it is.
Yeah. There's a huge amount of, yeah. So some of the influences. So like you said, there's the system dynamics line of work, which is this is a simulation technique developed by Jay Forrester, who is a pioneer of digital computing. In the 1950s, he developed the first interactive graphical, computer. And then he was like, I think we've kind of solved all the hard problems with computers. So he's like, I'm going to try to move on to something else. And in a sense, he was kind of right, because, it's like, but in a sense, it's kind of a really funny comment in retrospect. So he then went on to do all this simulate. He went to the business school at MIT from engineering and developed this whole technique for modeling businesses as these dynamic systems. And then went on to model cities and then the world and economies. And so there's this whole influence Will took from that work, and he integrated that Jay Forrester's urban dynamics work with.
Did he interact with Jay Forrester directly, or was it much more just like he kind of read some of the books
No,
and like some?
he read. I mean, Will's a huge reader. He's one of the most sort of intellectually omnivorous people I know. Yeah, so he was reading that stuff. Though Will did have a neighbor who was a city planner named Bruce Jaffe, who I talked to a while back. Bruce had actually taken a course from Forrester at
Okay,
MIT on system dynamics, but they both say that that's not how Will found out about Forrester's work. But
interesting. I mean, and the weird thing is that like many years down the line, a lot of people who are involved in like city design and kind of like urban dynamics, like they were influenced by playing SimCity as
exactly,
kids, and so it's a very kind of interesting circle there.
totally.